Hello, hello, I'm the official name rater. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today we're looking at Mankey, Primeape, and Annihilape. God but real, Annihilape is probably one of the coolest fucking Pokemon evolutions they've made, like, just in general. The idea that this motherfucker was so angry, he died, and then came back as a vengeful spirit, like, this Pokemon is metal as fuck. We did technically cover the Primeape episode right here, as you can see, but that was 2019? That was when this channel first started out. It says December 2019 right here. So, Annihilape wasn't born yet. If you're interested in this video, it will be down here in the description below for you to take a look at in its entirety. The way I treat things like this, as we did with the Weird Ear episode, is I will go through Annihilape, and then I'll go ahead and do like a loose scroll through of Primeape for just differences, but it's going to mostly focus on Annihilape. I'm just going to highlight this for the sake of it because we already went through this like 1,000 times with Squawkabilly and friends, but we have another one like this, so we're going to come across this link a lot apparently. I'm about to control F this hoe. I'm not a Dragon Ball person, so if this appeals to you, there you go. I don't know, personally, the whole Wukong thing is kind of like insanely overdone to me. I've seen it time and time again, especially for Infernape, so at least this isn't on Infernape, but I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. I'll highlight Terminape for being an alternative to what could have been the official name, because Annihilape is just annihilate, terminate. It's the same pun, so that one's kind of like naming your Ditto likewise. I'm going to kind of highlight this one. I looked at the end of the Primeape, episode to see, what I recommended back then. And one of the ones I talked about was Furious George, as a pun off Curious George. But the problem with Furious George, according to me, is that it's 13 characters, so you can't actually use it. Mr. Furious, however, kind of just feels like that to me, but I don't particularly think that's great of a nickname. So, highlighting it for that novelty, but that's pretty much it. Another one mentioned in the original Primeape episode that I didn't watch the full of it, but I saw the ending where I mentioned Cranky Kong. Apparently. Chunky Kong. If you wanted to do a DK thing, that's fine, but personally, I don't know. It just doesn't hit the right notches for me, so reluctantly highlighting it, but it's there. Unfortunately, we have the misfortune of seeing another fucking Harambe joke. The best one will always be the one someone posted on Oranguru where he said, nah, it can't be Harambe because his psychic ass would have seen the bullet coming. And I'm only saying that because right here the joke is, I guess, that he's a ghost type. You get it? I don't particularly care for meme nicknames. Memes to me are just kind of shit because I don't like hearing the same joke 50 billion times, and it honestly blows my mind that people do. But, I mean, if you like piles of trash, this one's for you. Gonna kind of highlight Shadow Kong because that feels like a Donkey Kong style nickname that I guess works in a different way. I'll highlight Danny Phantom. I don't have a problem with it as a nickname. And I mean, I feel like conceptually it's not a bad choice considering it's a ghost and fighting, which kind of summarizes Annihilape, but I don't know, I've never really put too much thought into it. I will always stand by the idea that there could have been a really sweet Danny Phantom video game if they melded it into like a Legend of Zelda gameplay. I think that would have been rad. Thanks to the comments for the Hisui and Zoro arc, I now know that Ghost Freak is a Ben 10 reference. I don't know anything about Ben 10, so if this appeals to you, cool. I'll highlight Banshee. I feel like there's better choices for it. Misdreavus is kind of the first thing that comes to mind because it's the Screech Pokemon, so that's just what I remember using prior to changing it to Teehee, so I'm always going to think of Banshee with that. I don't mind the idea of Goosebumps. That's not a bad one. That's not one we see often. You could put that as a generic Ghost or Dark type nickname if you wanted to. Stallone down here for Sylvester Stallone. In the ending of the Primeape episode, I talk about how fucking fighters and wrestlers and shit are a common theme, so I guess we'll put a blanket statement on that one. Napstablook we saw recently. That might have been Ghost Dog, I think. I don't have a problem with that as a nickname. It's fine. You know what I think it would be best on? Mimikyu. Mayweather, we saw that recently with Mayfeather, which was for Flamigo. I mean, you could call it Mayweather if you want to. I don't really have a problem with it. It's just not what I would personally do. I'm gonna be real, I kind of wish we could come across more of this fucking guy because it's just fascinating to see what he does. We've only come across here one time, and let's see how his cheering works. The first one I want to highlight, Rage Against the Machine. I don't mind that idea, and I understand it doesn't fit. I think the acronym is pretty obvious, but only if you actually know who Rage Against the Machine is. So if you've never heard of that, I could understand how that could go over your head. Let's find out what happens if I just type it in. Yeah, just typing it in brings that in, but even when I just did this, like you can see it right here as well. Dr. Zaius is Planet of the Apes reference. I remember seeing this a lot semi-recently. It might have been the, what do you call it? Oranguru episode, I feel like that was what it was. It's not particularly special to me, but if you care. Berserker is going to be another one of those words that's kind of just ruined for me because it was like really common in the late 2000s for fucking zombies and shit like that. So if you care, sure, but I'm always just going to kind of think about it and cringe because it just felt like an uninspired generic name for a zombie game or an enemy in a zombie game. Mojo Jojo, that one's worth highlighting, I suppose. I mean, we've seen it a couple times. I feel like Zarude is the best choice for it, but I feel like we've seen it somewhere else before too. Gorilla Grodd, I actually like that one. I think that's a good choice, but I think maybe putting that over on Oranguru is the superior choice considering that Psychic Monkey. And while on the subject of Psychic Monkey, I remember that Andross was another choice for Oranguru. And I'm really realizing Oranguru actually had some good nicknames in that episode. Ape Escape I was thinking about. He says just courtesy of Wolfglick. I was thinking about Ape Escape, and I was actually thinking about Super Monkey Ball. They have names, I just don't remember the names of the characters in Super Monkey Ball. So that one's... Super Monkey Ball would be perfect for fucking Passimian. Ape Escape's not a bad choice, though. I'm for that. I don't know if I would say Annihilape's the best choice, but I also don't know if I give enough of a shit to complain. Punisher, I don't mind. That one's kind of like a Binding of Isaac Bayonetta style nickname. You could put that on a few Pokemon. I feel like the skull motif to drive home the Marvel connection's a good choice. Also going to be that guy and say that I prefer the logo of the old design better than this new Oni one. I think the old design was very slick looking, and it's kind of bullshit that they changed it because somebody decided that it represents this. I'm going to shit on you for calling it Ben, short for benevolent. That is short for you're a dumb bitch, and that's some Tumblr idiot type shit right there. You can fit benevolent. It's like 10 characters. It'll fit. I also was, as I was reading, was thinking benevolent. If you could make that work. Jumanji I've seen in the past before. I feel like Grass Monkey is a better choice. I like that as a generic grass type nickname. Havoc, generic Binding of Isaac Bayonetta style nickname. You can throw in a few different guys. Knuckles, that's going to be in reference to Sonic. I actually don't mind Main Event. I think that's an interesting name we've never seen before. That could be like a good choice for like Incineroar or Hitmonchan. You could also maybe see if Prize Fighter fits. That should fit. Not sure why Reddit is there, if I'm honest. Hellboy I like too. That's another one you could put on Ghost or Dark types. Use that as a generic name. Mars, positive he's referring to the Roman god of war, but also, you know, Mars is a planet too. Fun fact, I didn't know that Martian was short from people for Mars, and just thought Martian was just a name for all aliens. I didn't learn that until I was older. Atom Smasher is probably in reference to, I think it's DC. There's a character called that. I don't know if I would put that for Annihilate, but it's an idea, I suppose. I'm undecided how I feel about Melee. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. We could use that as a generic fighting type nickname. I really like the idea of Heavyweight. You could use that too. I feel like the best choice for that, though, is going to be either kind of like the same lines of Incineroar, Hitmonchan, or alternatively, a very heavy-set Pokemon like Aggron. Gonna be real. I hate this pun, but I also love it at the same time. I'll highlight this one, but my problem is when I see Turk, first off, it's spelled T-U-R-K, but I think about Scrubs. But we have mentioned that Tarzan as a nickname idea for something like, what's it, Simisage? I never remember. It's Pansage, Simisage, Pansage? One of the two. And then I personally use it for my Rillaboom. Is Nemesis a fucking Greek god of retribution? I thought Nemesis was just a word. Nemesis is what I have on my, Zangoose. But I also double think about Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. Another gorilla from Tarzan. I like Booberry. But again, I think we should be putting that on a different ghost-type Pokemon. Again, my first thought is like Mimikyu because of the whole sheet look. That's what comes to mind. But I like the idea of Booberry as a generic ghost-type nickname. Clobberella is a Futurama reference. This thread in particular is focused on female Annihilape. So if you care about that, I don't know. To me, it's meh. You know, the second I saw the word bananas, I thought about this pun as well. And I'm actually kind of surprised I've never seen it before, and the joke works a little bit extra because it's a monkey. Ronda Rousey's another fighter, if you care for that one. Black Canary is a DC character. I'm not sure what it is with this thread, but everyone's talking about Banshee a whole bunch. So I really don't think about dead ghost monkey known for anger with screaming, but everyone seems to fucking think so. So maybe I'm the problem? I don't know. Rhea Ripley's right down here below it. There's another female fighter if it appeals to you. Misdemeanor. What was it? There was some 80s cartoon that my fitness trainer showed me. It was like Cops or something like that. And one of the characters was called Misdemeanor. And I thought that was such a clever joke. So I want to highlight that one because I love the pun behind it. But I don't think we should be putting it on Annihilape. I'm not sure where it would go, honestly. My first thought's Salazzle. I'm also going to highlight this because I've fucking seen it like 50 billion times on this single thread. There's only 300 comments yet. I've seen it 50 billion times. Naming it Karen is not going to be funny. We get it. There's a fucking joke there. Karen, haha. Get the fuck out of here. Another one I saw a bunch of in this thread is my ex-wife. Ha ha ha. Step your jokes up, man. China is another female fighter. That one's worth highlighting. I have China actually written down on my miscellaneous nicknames, categorized under WWE, WWF. So that's one I'd like to use one day. Just in case you didn't believe me, I want you to take in this little thread, this little screenshot right here, because Karen is being used so much that the fucking OP is copying and pasting their thing just to say, shut the fuck up, your joke isn't funny. Apparently I missed this one, but it says Xena up here. That one's worth highlighting as another legendary fighting female, the warrior princess. This one's kind of a long comment, but it's like all the way here at the bottom, someone mentioned Zangief. That's Street Fighter, I believe. So there's another fighter for you, I guess. Alright, what's the bottom for Annihilape? I do feel like we've come across quite a few good candidates so far. My stupid ass hasn't written anything down, so I hope you've picked something out. Right now, though, we're going to go ahead and do a brief glimpse at Primeape and just go over the ones I feel like looking over, because there's no point in me checking Pokemon.net. It's already here in the original episode. You want that? Go there. Tyson Fury, I believe, if I remember right, he put furry. That's another professional wrestler. KO is, I don't remember where the fuck I got it from, but I don't know, did I think it on my own? KO is what I personally use on Hitmonchan, because, knockout, so I like that. You could use that as, no, I know what I got it from. It was from there was this game. It was like an NES Super Nintendo game or something like that, and the mouse was named KO, and I took that and decided, well, knockout. That's where I got it from. So I don't know when this was done, but KO is what I personally use on my Hitmonchan for that purpose. You could put on other fighting type Pokemon if you wanted to. I'm going to reluctantly highlight C. Norris, Chuck Norris, you get it? Because Prince Boo technically named his Primeape Mrs. Norris in, what was it? It was his Pokemon Red playthrough, so because I've mentioned Boo a few times in these videos, I'm going to highlight that one. Boo is actually the reason that kind of influenced me to changing my nicknaming style and coming up with shit that I feel is just better than it was when I was a kid. Okay, well, that's all I'm doing. These two literally only had one suggestion. What was this? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, this was fucking blank and had nothing. This we already looked at. There's me. We will go over my comments. This, I don't want to look at the Tumblr read again, and we pretty much skipped over Pokemon down, and that's that. So, cycling over to see what the comments on this video are. I feel like I've seen Luffy a couple times, or Monkey D, or Luffy, or something like that. And I saw someone making fun of One Piece fans, so if that appeals to you, sure, but I don't know shit about it. Balrog is another Street Fighter one. We've seen a few Street Fighter ones out there. Pork Chop is an interesting choice because technically it's a pig monkey. So I suppose you could lean that way, but I feel like most people are going to go with Emboar over Primeape Annihilape. And right here he mentions Ape Shit, which is technically mentioned in the video. Again, I don't know if I came up with that or if I saw that, but you get it, Ape Shit, angry, he angry. I cannot show the spreadsheet because for whatever reason it won't load, so just take a look at the original video if you want to look at that. But we do also have comment suggestions. Shadowboxing, the martial, okay, which I believe he might have also suggested for Marshadow, it's possible. Not a bad idea. I think it would be actually interesting to take the concept of shadowboxing and turn it into a photo. I just think that'd be fun. As far as the nickname, I don't really particularly care one way or the other. Harambe, dead monkey. Well, at least he went in that direction too. Ape shit, really mad. Well, I just talked about that. Obliterape is another good one that could work in an official sense, kind of like, what did we see, Terminape. So that one's worth highlighting. Armageddon is another. Did you see it? No, it's two different people. Armageddon is one you could use as a generic type nickname. You could throw on a few different Pokemon, Banding like Bayonetta style. Nothing really wrong with it. I feel like we came across a lot of ideas, and I'm saying that because I'm now up to an hour recording and only 15 minutes of it was Tatsugiri. So that means this took 45 minutes. Holy shit. Again, my stupid ass didn't write anything down, even though we came across a lot of decent stuff, but also I feel like a lot of stuff that wasn't. I feel like a lot of it could have gone elsewhere. Like, there's a lot of potential, and it's nice to know that people like this Pokemon. I liked it. I'm actually quite upset that it took them months to, and I understand, I guess. They could literally plan better, but, like, I had a shiny Mankey from Go, and I was like, oh, I want to use it on my first playthrough of Scarlet and Violet. It'd be neat to play through the game with a shiny. That would be fun. But they're like, we won't release a home update until like 6 months later. And I'm like, maybe if you were just like better at managing your own product, you could plan for it and then release compatibility alongside the game. And then I could play with my shiny and that would be fun. But it's fine. Game Freak doesn't like fun. So the one I personally use, which is the same thing I used from Primeape, is just Bonkers. Bonkers based off the Kirby enemy, but Bonkers also like, oh, crazy, angry, that kind of shit. So for me, it's one I'm not going to change, and I'm kind of glad that its evolution didn't change it so much to the point where he needed a new nickname. Any other ideas and suggestions you have, feel free to put in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the ones you think are good. Let us know what you'd use or recommend. Hopefully this video helped you out because, I mean, if you're playing anything prior to Gen 9, some of these nicknames might not work. But that's why we now have 2 videos for you. We have other monkey-based Pokemons to recommend, such as Infernape, Oranguru, Passimian, the Unova monkeys. All those other ideas for you to check out if you want additional help, because I feel like we came across some decent monkey-based nicknames. Honestly, I think the best stuff we came across was actually on Centiskorch, right down here. Centiskorch, I think, had the strongest stuff out of everything we've seen today.